bite my tongue. I can stay awake for days if that's what you want. Be a number one. I can fake a smile. I can force a laugh. I can dance and play the part if that's what you ask. Give you all I am. I can do it. I can do it. I can do it. But I'm only human, and I bleed when I fall down. I'm only human, and I crash.
Yes, Mr. Mason, we're going to talk about your constitutional rights. By pleading guilty, you are giving up certain constitutional rights. I will go over each of those with you now. In a few moments, you will be asked to tell the court what it is you did that constitutes these 2 counts of vehicular homicide by operating while intoxicated. Is it your desire to continue with your plea of guilty and to waive or give up each of those rights?
Yes, Your Honor.
You unlawfully and unintentionally caused the deaths of Nathan Wright and Taylor Goodell by operating a motor vehicle while under the influence of an alcoholic beverage or drug or a combination of those substances.
Your Honor, considering the seriousness of the offense, the number of lives that have been impacted by the defendant's reckless actions, the innocent lives taken by the defendant, the state believes that the sentence is more than appropriate. As the court knows, the sentence should be constructed to rehabilitate the defendant, protect the public from the actions of the defendant, and to act as a deterrent to others who are considering behavior similar to the defendant's.
How did this happen? Why? They didn't do anything to deserve any of this. What were his final words to you? Was he having fun? What were you guys doing before the accident happened? The suffering you caused him from the time he crashed until he passed. How am I supposed to live with that? From the moment he could speak until the last argument we had Monday morning about what temp clothes in the dryer should be fluffed. And he'd always say to me, "You'll be fine, Mom. I promise." Nate had a challenging scholastic road in front of him, and he couldn't wait to seize every opportunity along the way. It's been so enjoyable being a part of Nate's life and helping him become a fine young man. From the time he was young until now, he's always brought smiles to so many people in their lives. I will allow the court and trust in the system Nate believed in and dreamed of becoming a part of one day to write a sentence that takes into account the seriousness of the crime committed, the lives that were lost, and the pain and suffering of the families affected.
Our daughter was pronounced dead. In an instant, because of the senseless and selfish act of one boy, our daughter was stolen from us. And now, we would give anything to spend just one more day with her. Hear her voice just one more time. Tell her we love her just one more time. We say it now, but only silence follows. And the meal ends, usually with Bryce breaking down in tears, running for her bedroom, sobbing uncontrollably. You see, you not only took our daughter, but for Bryce, you took her hero. You took Taylor, her big sister. We miss Taylor. And because of your actions, Alex, and your total disregard for the safety of anyone else, we've been sentenced to hell on earth. The tears won't stop flowing, the incredible ache in the pits of our stomach won't go away. And we have no idea how we will face the world without Taylor. We do. We forgive you for the terrible choices you made. But Alex, we will never forget what you took from us. You can still talk to your parents, you can see them, give them a hug, even if it is behind bars. We will never get to do that with Taylor. Taylor, we will always love you. We will always love you, and you will never be forgotten. Until the great day we are reunited in heaven, your mom and daddy love you, your brother and sister love you, and we can't wait to see you again. The court wants a recommendation on some sort of sentencing that would be fair, but I cannot. I can't be impartial or fair. I'm in too much pain, and there is no way, no punishment handed down that could ease our despair.
In imposing sentence, I have to consider the maximum opportunity for rehabilitation of the defendant and the protection of the community from further offenses. I've also considered the circumstances of the offenses, the defendant's age, education, and character. Also considered is the deterrent to the community for the commission of offenses of this nature by others. Not only have you killed their children, you have destroyed their lives and the lives of their family as well. Those families will never see their children graduate, go into college, get a job, get married, have children. Those families will never see Nathan go to Drake University, take a trip to Costa Rica, or play the saxophone. Those families will not see Taylor go to prom, attend college, get married and have babies of her own. And the sentences I am about to impose will protect the community, including your friends, from you, from the commission of further offenses. Defendant Alex Mason is hereby convicted and adjudged guilty of count 1, vehicular homicide by operating while intoxicated, a Class B felony in violation of Iowa Code Section 707.6A, subparagraph 1, subparagraph A. Defendant Alex Mason is hereby convicted and adjudged guilty of count 2, vehicular homicide by operating while intoxicated, a Class B felony in violation of Iowa Code Section 707.6A, subparagraph 1, subparagraph A. Regarding count 1, Nathan Wright. Defendant is committed to the custody of the Director of the Iowa Department of Corrections for a period not to exceed 25 years, with credit for time served awaiting disposition of this case. Defendant shall pay a dare surcharge of $10. Defendant shall pay restitution in the amount of $150,000 to the estate of Nathan Wright. This period of incarceration will run consecutively to the period of incarceration for count 2. Regarding count 2, Taylor Goodell. Defendant is hereby committed to the custody of the Director of the Iowa Department of Corrections. This period of incarceration shall run consecutively to the period of incarceration for count 1, for a total period of incarceration not to exceed 50 years. I have imposed consecutive sentences rather than concurrent, which means, Mr. Mason, that the sentences run back to back, 25 plus 25, rather than at the same time, which is concurrent, because of the loss of life, the circumstances of the offense, and the fact that you chose to get high and drive while you were under the influence. For both counts 1 and 2, the defendant's motor vehicle driver's license shall be revoked for a period of 6 years. Mr. Mason, you must submit to a physical specimen for DNA profiling. Defendant has incurred court-appointed attorney fees in the amount of $10,000. The court determines that because of defendant's 50-year sentence of incarceration, he is unable to reimburse the state of Iowa for that amount. Defendant is ordered to pay all court costs. Any appearance bonds are released and exonerated. Please be seated, Mr. Mason. Mr. Mason, you have now received the judgment and sentence of this court. You have the right to appeal. That appeal begins by filing a notice of appeal with the Humboldt County Clerk of Court within 30 days of today's date. Because these offenses, vehicular homicide by operating while intoxicated, are forcible felonies, no appeal bond may be posted. Defendant is hereby remanded to the custody of the Humboldt County Sheriff. This matter is concluded. We are adjourned.
Is this the end, or only the beginning? The second chance you never.
I don't know, it was just like hard knowing that my parents had to write that and I'm still alive, and I can't imagine parents actually having to write that and their child is still not with them. And from a senior standpoint, it's hard seeing your senior classmates not with you on graduation day, just imagining that. We're not going to be with each other, we only have a few short months left together, and it's just hard to think that it could be anyone, it could be your best friend. And everyone was saying about the hardest part was reading what my parents wish they would have said to me, and then writing that back to them was definitely hard too, and I just can't take life for granted.
The hardest part for me was definitely my parents. You take a lot of things for granted, and one of the things you take for granted is seeing your parents and telling them that you love them. And when I was on the ground and I heard my dad yell my name, that was horrifying. I've never heard my dad say my name like that. I've never heard him act like that. So that was very hard for me, and everything just seemed so real. It's just so weird, thinking about how this could be real, and I want to be with my friends, I want to be with my family. And I think teenagers we're really oblivious to everything and think that this sort of stuff can't happen, it won't happen to me. I'll be fine, it won't happen to me. But reality is, it can. And that's what's really scary. And I want all of you, I love all of you guys, and I want you guys to be safe. And I don't want you guys to go through that ever, or your families. So it took me a second to get into character, because it was so cold, and we were just sitting in that car, and it felt so real. And I was just couldn't ever imagine being in that position, having to do that, because I don't think, it was probably really calm in that situation, but I knew it wasn't real. But if it was in an actual situation, I know I wouldn't have been that calm. I didn't really get to feel the way they felt because I didn't die, and I didn't have my obituary read until that night. And then we got the letter saying how much they loved me. And that they're so proud of me, and how I can just light up a room, and it just really touched me. I just love them so much, and I don't want any of you to go through that ever.
It can all be prevented if we just make better choices, and we know that you guys are going to drink and do things, but just don't drive if you do, or just don't drink at all.
The thing that was probably the hardest that got to me was probably the letter from my mom, because she was writing to me as if I was dead, and I don't know, that was just tough, and just made me think about a lot of things, and then replying to her was hard, but I don't know. just don't take stuff for granted. And then laying on the gurney, I opened my eyes and all I could see was like faces all around me. And I had to close my eyes again because I couldn't go through that. It was just so heart-touching how many people are involved in it and how many people go through it on a daily routine or every so often. I thought the school wrote the obituaries, and it surprised me like how much they knew about me at first, but then I realized my parents wrote it, and then it got me a little bit like when they talked about my late grandpa Defendant, who passed away 3 years ago, so that one kind of hit me.
All right, before I give my little spiel, how about a round of applause for the Every 15 Minutes program and everybody that helped out with it. And going through the day, it was just like really hard because everybody was watching you and everybody, I'm not going to name names, Jacob Thurn, was like laughing and like not really taking it seriously at first, but I mean, when you're in that position, it's intense, and you know, you never want to go through something like that because, I mean, just think of what you're doing to people around you and how your parents and everybody just, I mean, it's real, and it happens all the time. Just hearing from the state troopers talk about all the different encounters they've came across around here, and just thinking it happens all the time. So, and you really can't take anything for granted.
And to be honest, when I first heard about this, I thought it was kind of stupid. So, but like when I talked to Michelle and she was taking me down to get my makeup and stuff on, I actually realized what it was all about. And it was kind of cool that they had a program for this, like to keep drunk drivers off the road and people that are doing drugs and stuff like that. So there are people around us who have been affected by drunk drivers, and it can happen to us, so we need to be careful with our decisions.
Okay, if you have to have a parent drop you off at the church at 7 a.m. I have a hard enough time getting to first period on time. This whole thing's about making decisions, and the people you hang out with, the people you hang out with every day, you see every day, you hang out with outside of school, are probably the people who influence your decisions the most. And that's the one thing that like is very hits close to home. And I was lucky enough to have a handful of good, decent pallbearers. So thanks, guys. Doctors hang out with doctors, lawyers hang out with lawyers, teachers hang out with teachers, drug dealers hang out with drug dealers, and criminals hang out with criminals. So hang out with people that aren't gonna make you do dumb stuff.
So, and then I get in to go to makeup, and they're talking about how this is going to be this whole big thing. I'm like, all right, I'm down for this. Let's do it. And then like, one more thing. I'm like, yeah. And then they say, here, can we have your phone? I'm like, this is escalating too quickly. Another point that I'd like to make is that I don't think that a lot of people here realize that how much their life matters to people. Like, you all have value to me, to him, everybody here. You all value to somebody in this school, and I don't think that people realize that all the time. Like, you could, if you die, like let's say car crash, suicide, something like that, you're affecting your fellow students, your teachers, your parents. Everybody in your life is affected in one way or another.
Everybody who was involved in this, and especially Deputy Lampy and Officer Bennett, for all the hard work. The things that impacted me the most were watching my son be sentenced to 50 years in prison. And I started doing the math, and I thought, okay, he'll be 68 when he gets out, I'll be 96. And you get to the point where you have a hard time separating fiction from reality. And it's kind of like a dream. You wake up, you have a bad dream, you wake up, you're always glad you do. And so I've had that feeling the last couple of days. The two hardest things that I went through in this process was the sentencing and the victim impact statements. Listening to those parents, and it dawned on me that this was all matter of choices, like you kids said. And not only was it the choice of Alex to drive impaired and to do the things he should not have been doing, but also the choice of Nate to get in the car with him.
But real families go through that all the time, and I just can't imagine. I never want to do this for real. And your parents don't either. So please make good choices.
But the thing that impacted me the most was thinking of Tristan's plans, thinking all of the things that God has gifted her with, and all of the things that God has gifted each one of us in the room with. Just knowing that there's value in that. And tomorrow, your purposes will not be carried out if it's taken away from you.
I can't echo Lincoln's sentiments about the number of people that got involved in this, that were on board with this. We just can't thank you enough, and the students, the parents. I'm not going to list everybody that Lincoln listed already, but there's just a huge amount of planning and people that went into this. And it was, I want you students and faculty to know how difficult a decision it was to say yes to this.
That we are not promised every day. We have to make the most of what we have today, and we all get busy in our daily lives, and we wake up late in the morning, or we forget to do this, or we forget to do that. But I think the one thing we need to remember is always take time to tell your kids, to tell your family that you love them.
I'm usually one of the parents that actually have to tell the other parents that their child did not make it, and that is extremely hard. Like Tammy said, their cries, their screams, begging for their child to live. It's something you don't ever want to hear. And please do not do that to your parents.
You've probably heard enough from me in the last few days. You've seen my face probably way too much. Just want to say, oh, hi, Taylor. There is no way any policeman could hold a parent back from running up to their child. So please, it's been said over and over and over again, your actions have consequences, not only for yourself, but for the people around you.
I will reiterate what Taylor said. Think about your choices. It not only affects you, but it affects your parents. And last night was horrible.
It's not easy for us to raise you. It takes energy and willpower and saying no and making curfews and just an encouragement and bawling and crying and yelling, you know. And so I guess what I took out of this is that we did do this as a community for the bigger picture. That
every decision you make, that one decision changes your life forever. Whether you're the driver, whether you're the one getting in the car, every decision you make has an impact on everything.
Some mornings you're just so busy and it's like, yeah, goodbye, whatever, but I think that all of you, every morning, should hug and kiss your parents goodbye, and even your brothers and sisters, because that might be the last day that you ever see.
I don't know if you guys realize it or not, I've been here 27 years, and I could count at least 13 or 14 children from this town that died in car accidents. Now, we only have, what, 5,000 to 6,000 people in this town.
The program, it's not designed to lecture you guys. It's not designed to tell you more things that you think you already know. It's because we care. It's because they care. They take time out of their personal lives. They have busy work lives. They take time out of their personal lives to put together a program like this. And not just Aaron and Corey and all of the other deputies and police officers involved, and the EMTs and the ambulance people and the troopers that were here yesterday. They donate that time. They come here because they care, because they don't want to see any more fatalities. Every 15 minutes, I I cannot even fathom that in real life. And there's Nate on top of that hood. I am just like, it was all I could do to sit in those stands. I knew it was fake blood. I knew he was okay. But my mind, the way that my mind played those emotions was incredible. I wanted to run out from that stand and go to him.
And I'm a little surprised that Grant showed pause when the Grim Reaper came to get him out of class, because every morning when Sue wakes him up, he always asks me why I would send the Grim Reaper in to get him up. Just Google the definition of a friend. And a friend is someone who shares adoration, trust, and respect for one another. And I thought, if you really are a friend, why would you ever compromise the safety of someone? And if this were to happen to you or one of your friends, I can imagine every day of your life you would want to look back and say, I wish I had that time and that decision over again. But if it happens, you won't. And today you have that opportunity. This was all staged. It was as real as I could ever imagine it could be, and very difficult to go through. But today starts your second chance, so make the most of that. Take care of your friends.